this time, we got a fun one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Get ready to be surprised.
Absolutely.
Because we're talking about some seriously unexpected family ties in Hollywood.
Oh, this is going to be good.
It is.
Lay it on me.
All right, so we're exploring an article all about Ron Howard.
Okay.
You know, Opie from The Andy Griffith Show.
Sure do.
And his connection to Don Knotts, the one and only Barty 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now get this, they weren't just co-stars.
No way.
They were actually distant cousins.
Really? You're kidding.
I'm not.
Whoa, that's wild.
It is pretty wild, right? It just goes to show you never know what kind of hidden connections are out there.
It really makes you think, huh?
It does. So let's dive into this fascinating story together and see what we can uncover.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Okay, so first things first, for anyone who might not be familiar with The Andy Griffith Show, it's this classic sitcom set in the fictional town of Mayberry.
Yeah, a real slice of Americana.
Exactly. You've got Sheriff Andy Taylor, a widowed father raising his son Opie, played by a young Ron Howard.
Right.
And then there's the hilarious Barney Fife, Andy deputy, always getting into some kind of predicament.
Oh, man, he was the best.
He really was. So the show's been loved for generations because of its heartwarming humor, relatable characters, and its portrayal of a simpler time.
It's true comfort television.
It really is. Now back to this family connection.
Okay, yeah.
So Ron Howard recently revealed this surprising news on Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram.
Yeah, he posted a photo of himself with Andy Griffith and Don Knotts
Wow.
on the set of his film Ransom back in the 90s. And in the caption, he mentions that they were actually distant cousins.
That's so cool. After all these years, he's still discovering new things about his past.
Isn't that amazing? It just shows that life is full of surprises.
Totally agree. You never know what you might find out about your own family history.
You really don't. So we've got this fascinating family connection, a beloved TV show, and Ron Howard's incredible journey from child star to acclaimed director.
Yeah, talk about a transformation.
I know, right? He went from playing Opie at 5 years old to directing Oscar-winning films.
It's an inspiring story for sure, and what I find particularly interesting is that even with all his success, he still looks back on his time on The Andy Griffith Show with such fondness.
Yeah, he does. He often talks about the lessons he learned from Andy Griffith, especially when it comes to comedic timing and the importance of subtlety and humor.
It's like those early experiences really shaped his entire approach to filmmaking.
It seems that way, and the article we're looking at mentions how Griffith preferred subtle Southern humor over slapstick, which really defined the show's comedic style.
Makes sense. I mean, you think of the Andy Griffith Show and you don't exactly picture a lot of physical comedy.
No, not really. It's more about those witty exchanges and those heartwarming moments between the characters.
Right, and that's what makes it so enduring. It's a show that appeals to people of all ages because it's funny, but it's also got a lot of heart.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just about the humor, though. Griffith really seemed to be a mentor to young Ron Howard.
Yeah, it sounds like their relationship went beyond just acting.
It did. Howard has actually shared stories about how Griffith taught him so much about collaboration.
Interesting. So the set of the Andy Griffith Show was more than just a workplace.
Oh, absolutely. Griffith created this environment where everyone felt like they could contribute their ideas.
Wow, so they actually let a child like Ron Howard offer suggestions.
Yep, and there's this great anecdote about how Howard, when he was just 7 years old, made a suggestion about one of his lines.
And
the director actually used it.
No way.
It just goes to show you the kind of respect Griffith had for everyone on set.
That's pretty incredible. Imagine the confidence that must have given young Ron Howard.
Oh yeah, for sure. It probably had a huge impact on his development as an actor and later as a director.
It makes you think about the importance of mentorship and how those early experiences can shape our entire careers.
Couldn't agree more. Now, speaking of impact, we can't talk about The Andy Griffith Show without mentioning the amazing dynamic between Griffith and Knotts.
Oh man, their chemistry was undeniable.
It was pure magic. They had this way of playing off each other that was just hilarious.
Oh, I know. What were your favorite scenes?
Oh, now there are so many, but I always loved those moments in the sheriff's office where they just riff off each other.
Yeah, those were gold. It felt so natural, like they were just two old friends hanging out.
And that's because they had a genuine friendship off-screen, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Karen Knott's daughter has talked about how close her father and Griffith were. There was never any rivalry between them, only admiration and support.
Oh, that's sweet. It's nice to hear that even in the world of Hollywood, genuine friendships can exist.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that those human connections are what really matter at the end of the day.
For sure. And it makes their on-screen partnership even more special knowing that there was this real bond between them.
Right. You can just feel the affection they had for each other in their performances.
It shines through. And there's this great quote from Ron Howard's book where he talks about how much Andy Griffith loved watching Don Knotts perform.
Oh yeah? What did he say?
He said Andy was the world's greatest audience for Don. Don had Andy literally in tears once a week.
Haha, that's amazing. It really speaks to their comedic chemistry and the deep respect they had for each other's talent.
It does. And it's a beautiful example of how Finding those people who truly appreciate your gifts can inspire you to be your best.
I love that. That's what made Griffith and Knott's partnership so special. They weren't trying to outdo each other, they were supporting each other and making each other better.
It was a true collaboration. And the result, comedic gold.
Exactly. So we've talked about the surprising family connection, Ron Howard's journey, and the dynamic duo of Griffith and Knotts. What's the bigger takeaway here? What can we learn from this deep dive into the Andy Griffith Show?
Well, for me, it's a reminder that even in a world that can feel so divided and chaotic, there are still these threads of connection that bind us together.
I like that. Whether it's family shared experiences or a love for a classic TV show, those connections remind us of our shared humanity.
And the Andy Griffith Show really embodies that. It's a show about community, about simple joys, and the enduring power of human connection.
And knowing that there was this real-life family tie behind the scenes just adds another layer of depth and meaning to it all.
It does. It's like uncovering a hidden treasure.
Yeah, it's like we often focus on the final product, but forget about all the little details and relationships that went into creating it.
Right. It's like watching the credits roll at the end of a movie and seeing all those names. You never even think about all the people working behind the scenes.
Exactly. And those stories are often the most interesting ones.
They really are. And speaking of stories, the article we're looking at mentions something else that Ron Howard said about his time on the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, what's that?
He talked about how much he learned just from observing Griffith and Knotts work together.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, he specifically mentioned their generosity towards each other.
That makes sense. They always seemed so supportive of each other on screen.
And it sounds like that carried over off screen as well. Howard said that Griffith really fostered this environment where everyone felt valued and empowered to contribute.
Yeah, that's so important in any creative collaboration. You need to feel like your ideas are being heard.
Right. It's not about ego. It's about working together to create something great.
And Griffith seemed to understand that he created this space where everyone could shine.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that goes beyond just show business. It's relevant in any field where people are collaborating.
Absolutely. Whether you're working on a film, a business project, or even just a family dinner, it's important to create an environment where everyone feels respected and appreciated.
So true. And that brings us back to the Andy Griffith Show. This show that celebrates the power of community and connection.
And knowing that there was this real-life family connection behind the scenes makes it even more special.
It really does. It adds another layer of warmth and authenticity to the whole thing.
Like, those guys weren't just acting, they were sharing a part of themselves with the audience.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think it's this. Be open to the unexpected connections in your own life. You never know where you might find a sense of belonging or a deeper understanding of yourself.
And those connections can come from anywhere, right? Family, friends, shared interests, even a love for a classic TV show.
Exactly. It's all about finding those things that remind us of our shared humanity.
I love that. Well said. All right, folks, that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of the Andy Griffith Show and its surprising family ties.
It's been a fun one.
It has. Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep an eye out for those hidden treasures in your own life.